we finally did it. We finally finished the last half of the Autumn Springs Retirement Home Massacre, and can I say what the absolute fuck? Hi everybody. Alright, we're back. Part 2 of the Autumn Springs Retirement Home Massacre. Well, I say part 2, but it's just the second half of what I was reading because I put the book in half for reviewing. We have a lot to talk about. I had to take detailed notes again like I always do in my binder. So much shit went down. Jesus, I don't even know. Okay, I'm glad I took notes the way I did because so much happens, and then like the last part, it completely takes a different turn, and I'm like, wait a minute. Did not see that coming. So I'm very excited to talk to you guys about what happens in the final half of the Autumn Springs Retirement Home Massacre by Philip Fracassi. And just a quick review again, this was a Twisted Retreat special edition book. So this is what it looks like. What it looks like on the inside. In the back. Beautiful, gorgeous book. They always give gorgeous books. But, oh, okay, the pages are fine. Whew. But, let's get into it. All right. So, where we left off, Rose was getting ready to go. Hold that on me, Briar. Rose was getting ready to go to a dinner party that she had been invited to by another one of the residents. So that's happening right now. It leaves off with her going to answer the door because she thinks Miller is coming to the door. But here, I'm gonna put Rose in purple because she's the main character, and I felt like using purple for her today. So Rose is getting ready to go to the party. The last where I left off, it ended with her going to answer the door because she thinks it's Miller coming to get her. They were going to go to the party together. But it's actually her friend Mickey. Mickey coming to get her. And he says that Miller asked me to come get you. He's sick. He basically has the runs. And so he's not going to the party. And Rose is like, he could have like texted me or something. Like, we know how to use phones. She's a little upset that he's not going because she wanted him there like as they were going to be each other's buffer so that they didn't have to talk to anybody that they didn't want to type of thing. But she's going with Mickey. And Mickey is going through it right now. Okay, so Mickey is, and we learned this while going through the dinner party scene, so I'll talk about it now. Mickey has been like sweating a lot, bursts of anger, bad tummy, and it's reminding him of when he did steroids way back when, but he doesn't do steroids now. So he's like, what the fuck is this? I must have caught like a really bad bug or something. It's what he's telling himself. But us as the reader, we're like, did the killer put some in something of yours, Mickey? Because what the fuck, dude? He's basically been doing a bland diet ever since he started feeling weird, and he's not getting better. He's getting more like irritable, more tense. He's going to the party because the lady hosting, I didn't write down her name, but the lady hosting is a good friend of his. I think they hooked up a couple times, but so he's going because of that, but at the same time he doesn't want to go because of how he's feeling. So they go to this party, and like Gopi is there, and he's with this lady Mary, and it looks like they're like, you know, getting all cutesy and coupley, and Rose is like, good for them. We need some happiness around all this bullshit. Maureen is there. I don't know if you remember, but Maureen was the lady that showed Miller that she had a gun after she told him that she saw somebody peeping in her window. She was like, but I'm not scared, and showed him a gun that she had. She was like, they can come for me if they want. He was like, oh, all right then. So that's happening. So they get to the dinner party, and the host, the fucking host, I wish I wrote down her name, and I don't feel like going back to find her, because she's just there for this, and then, like, she's mentioned as one of the, she's just mentioned later, like, briefly. So she's like, hey guys, let's play a game. And everyone's like, oh, a party game, sounds fun. They've had some drinks at this point, some little, like, you know, little finger foods and stuff. And so she's like, let's play a game. I think it'll ease the tension. And Rose is like, ah, fuck, this doesn't sound good. And she goes, let's play Find the Killer. And everyone's like, well, that's in poor taste, don't you think? So she says, let's play Find the Killer. And she's like, no, it'll be good for us. I think it's a fun game, I swear. And they're like, what the fuck? But so the game essentially is someone is the killer and everyone else is the potential victims. And what happens is they turn off the lights and everyone's hidden in a certain spot and they have to be quiet. It's like the quiet game with the lights off. And the killer goes around and they can only kill up to 5 people, and they go around and they either tap them or they go, you're dead. And then when the lights are back on, everyone has to try and decide who the killer is. So they're like, okay, I guess that could be fun. And Rose is like, this is the stupidest fucking worst idea ever. What the fuck? But she does it. She hides behind a chair. She's like, this should be good coverage. And so they turn off the lights and they start playing the game. And somewhere in the midst of that, the actual power goes out in the entire building. Like, I think they know that happens because, like, when the power goes out, like, that weird sound, like that sound happens, and then it's just, like, silence, like the lack of technology type of thing. So immediately everybody's freaking out. Like, someone shouts, the killer's in here! And I think it was Mickey because of what he does later. And then Maureen is like, stay the fuck away from me, I have a gun. And everyone's like, she's got a gun? Like, it was just fucking pandemonium in the dark. And then someone opens up the door to the apartment because the emergency lights are on. But they're like flashing red lights, probably not helping the situation. That seems very fucking stressful. But they're flashing red lights, and Rose turns and she sees Mickey, and she's like, Mickey, great. And then Mickey's like, we gotta get out of here. And he's fucking freaking out. He actually stiff arms and shoves Rose to the floor and bolts, and she's like, well, that's not like him at all. And he dips and he's gone. But now the fire alarm is also going off. So now the elevators are out of commission because of the fire alarm, and everybody in the building is trying to evacuate. They all are thinking there's a killer in the building trying to get them. So everybody's running to get out. And so, and I don't know why I'm laughing, because it's kind of sad, because everyone's panicking and rushing to get out, and a woman actually falls down the stairs and she breaks her neck. And, okay, I'm just going to put her name is not mentioned, but broken neck, fall downstairs. So, random person, Maureen, like, fired a shot in the apartment but didn't shoot anybody, but that also kind of led to, oh my god, there's a killer in the building, because everyone heard a gunshot. Miller shows up amidst all this and, like, grabs Rose and is like, we gotta get out of here. And she's like, what are you doing? He goes, the power went out. I came to get you, obviously. And so they're all going downstairs. I'll put Miller over here. They're all evacuating, running, getting out of the building as fast as they can. And so then we move to, it's so random. So this happens and it's like a, holy shit, was there really a killer there? And there is this goddamn there's this part between this scene and then the next scene where it's the killer talking to this body in the morgue about how they didn't plan for that to happen, but hey, just great for them. It's one less person they have to go out to kill, and how they have all these plans and they're going to take out as many people as they possibly can. And the way that it's written, you have fucking no idea who it is. You don't even know the gender of the person that's speaking. And so you're reading this going, who the fuck is this? The only thing that you can get from this is it is definitely somebody at the retirement home. Whether it's a resident or a worker or somebody, it's somebody who's familiar with the retirement home, who has access to the everything, but you don't know who it is. And so that was intriguing to read, and you could tell they're batshit fucking crazy too, because obviously they're talking to a dead body. But that was interesting to add to it. I thought it was a little odd to add this late in the book. Like, at this point, we're literally halfway through the book before we get the POV of the killer, which is a little, like, takes you out of it for just a second, but then you're like, okay, well, actually, this is kind of cool. This is a little creepy. But that was just my perspective of that. But, so now we're like, okay, so now we know the killer is planning on keeping, we knew that they were going to keep going, but now we know for sure this killer is one crazy as shit, and is going to, like they just said, take out as many people as possible. And so we move to, in the last section, poor old Bill, I keep writing his name down as Ben, but his name is Bill, who couldn't find his teeth. So he was just eating soup and like hiding from people because he didn't want the staff to think that he'd lost his mind and lost his teeth and have to be moved to the med center where like the people whose dementia has gotten too bad have gone. And so he finds his teeth. He's very excited. He's a little confused because his teeth are where he looked several times. We'll put Bill over here. Found. Actually, you know what I'll do going forward? Notes in red. Found his teeth. He found his teeth where he's already looked for it several times, just lying there. And he's so excited that he actually found them that he doesn't rinse them off, doesn't do his washing procedure with them, anything. He just pops them in his mouth. He's like, yeah, now I can go out. To like there is a meeting that the director Blackwell is holding for everybody, because he's like, I can go to that now. They won't think I'm losing my mind and losing my teeth. Yay. So he's going to that. And so at the time that the meeting happens because at the time that they're evacuating the building, the fire alarms went off because the old asylum that's right next to the building was burnt down. It was set on fire, and the smoke, it caused the fire alarms in the building next door to go off. So they find that out once they get outside. They're like, oh my God, the asylum's on fire. And I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's like, Jesus, fuck, this is fucked up. Because you read about the people's deaths in such descriptive detail. So the three sisters, the Baxter sisters, it was Beatrice, Betsy, and I want to say Bernice. The 3 Bs is what I was calling them. And I put them all as one person. But these 3, the ones who were trying to summon the demon Horus, they were in the asylum during the dinner party trying to summon Horus again. And someone locked them in. And then started taunting them and stuff. And doused the area outside with gasoline and threw gasoline in through the windows and set the place on fire. And it's so sad. The way that they died holding each other's hands and still chanting for Horus. Like they knew they were going to die, so they were giving it one last shot. And I was like, that's sad. It was sad. And I kind of liked them because they were weird and like, they were odd and they knew it and they embraced it. I was like, oh, those were the ones I didn't really want to go. So they were burned alive. And nobody knew until after the asylum burnt down and they were inspecting it. And Rose was like, someone should tell the director. The Baxter sisters have been going in there a lot. And then that made them search. And then they found the bodies of the Baxter sisters. So now they're gone too. And so after the Baxter sisters' bodies were found, after this one died evacuating the building, she fell and her neck broke. The director Blackwell is now holding a meeting for everybody who's still there, who hasn't, like, you know, dipped and was like, peace out, I'm not staying here anymore. He's holding a meeting and he's telling everybody, like, look, some weird stuff is going down. I'm not saying there's a killer here, but some strange things have been happening. A lot more deaths than usual, a lot of accidents, the fire last night. This is some really weird things. We need to look into this. We're going to have more security. However, we also are going to be initiating a curfew. Tell me why this pissed everybody off. Everybody there was like, why the fuck do we need to have a curfew? You need to find out who's doing this. We are grown, old-ass adults. You're going to tell us we got to be in bed by 9 p.m. or whatever the curfew he decided on. And he's like, calm down, everybody. Calm down. I'm just saying for your safety, curfew is this. And they're like, this is bullshit. Like, despite the fact that they're all terrified that there is a killer on the loose knocking them off one by one by one by one, they're like, curfew, fuck you and your rules. It was, reading that part made me laugh because I was like, y'all, priorities. You want to live and they're establishing a curfew, fucking follow the curfew. It is not the end of the world, but apparently it is. And in the middle of this, everybody's getting angry and upset and freaking out. Two things happen that just made things so much worse. Fucking Mickey, the gentle giant, everyone describes him as the gentle giant, wouldn't hurt a soul. He's big as hell, but he's a softie at heart. Rushes the stage. Let me put Blackwell right here. Rushes the fucking stage and attacks Blackwell. And everyone's like, the fuck? Because that came out of nowhere. He is pissed off and attacks him. And they're like, what the fuck? That's not like him at all. But they're all old people. They're like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? And so it took 5 orderlies to hold him down so that a nurse could sedate him enough for them to get him off Blackwell. And while that's happening, fucking Bill starts freaking out and frothing at the mouth because he can't open his mouth. So blood and like frothy shit is coming out of his mouth and he can't, like his mouth is shut like this. And he can't open it. And he dies. And so now everyone's like, you still don't think there's a killer on the loose? That's not weird to you? This isn't weird to you? So all that pandemonium happens in one fucking chapter. And so we're just kind of like, 5 people have died in the span of like, what, 24 hours now? The 3 sisters, this lady, and Bill. 5 people have now died in not even 24 hours. In less than 24 hours. So now Blackwell is like, Rose is like, all the old people are trying to like leave. I spaced out. They're trying to leave. They're trying to find somewhere else to be except there. Because they're like, here isn't safe anymore. And so, there's like, after this part, there was like this really sad, it was a really fucking sad chapter of like several different old people. Why do I keep calling them old people? Several different residents. Put some respect on it. Several different residents were calling their families to be like, hey, can I come stay with you for just a little bit? There's some things going on here. And every person that I read, that there was like 3 or 4 different residents calling their family to be like, I really need to stay with you for just a little bit. I won't be a bother. And every single one of their family members said, now's not a good time. Or, oh, you know, we have this coming up. Or, you know, this and da-da-da-da-da. Now's just not a good time. And it was really sad because The residents didn't even get to bring up that, hey, someone's killing us. I'm not safe here. And at the same time, it was like, I bet even if they said that, their family wouldn't believe them. It was a really, really sad chapter to read. But, so that happens, and people are, they're stuck here. So the people that can get away, they get away. The other ones, they're stuck there because no one will, they either don't have anyone to go to, or the people that they can go to won't let them come. So, yeah, that part made me sad. I had to take her. I was like, that's really depressing, and oh my god, they're all gonna die, or I was gonna feel bad, and I hope they feel guilty as shit. I hope they get haunted. I was a wreck. So now, let me just fold this. So now, Rose and Miller, I don't know why I made Miller so small. He's like a main character. Rose and Miller are going to visit Mickey, and they're suspicious because Mickey is the kindest, sweetest soul they have ever met. They don't know why all of a sudden he was like, I'm gonna beat up this dude and fucking kill this guy. They don't understand his behavior or why he's acting like this. And Blackwell and the nurses, they have him literally like strapped to the bed, like the restraints you do for like erratic and unsafe and dangerous patients and stuff. He's strapped to the bed like this. And they're like, does he really need these? And the doctor on call, the doctor is like, yes, he does. He is a danger to himself, and he is definitely a danger to others. And so they go see him, and immediately Mickey starts going, let me out of here, you fucking bitch, talking to Rose. Mind you, he's never talked to Rose like that before, or anybody. And he's going, let me out of here, you fucking bitch, let me out, let me out. And Rose is like, what the fuck is wrong with him? Or she doesn't swear. She would have gone, oh, this is so unlike you, Mickey. And so Rose and Miller are very suspicious that something has to have been done to him. They've been suspicious about what happened to Stan. Remember our aliens are real one who got pushed off of the fire tower. He thought he was seeing spaceships and the killer just pushed him. They're suspicious that Stan was drugged. They think Mickey has also been drugged, but no one's listening to them. They try to tell the doctor he must have been drugged or something, and the doctor's like, by who? And they're like, by the killer. And the doctor's like, there's no evidence that it's actually a killer. This is a retirement home. Old people die. And that's what they keep getting told. Old people die. And they're like, okay, 5 people just died in less than 12 hours. You're telling us that that's not... 3 of them were burned alive. That's not weird at all. It's frustrating to read because it's like, dude, somebody got to be suspicious. Thankfully, Hastings is suspicious. The detective, Hastings is suspicious, but every time he brings it up to his boss, he's like, hey, I know this is a retirement home, and I know they're old people, but this is a lot of deaths in a short amount of time. It hasn't even been 2 weeks, mind you. It's been like, by the time this next death happens, I think it's been 10 days. That's how quick this is happening. And every time he goes to his boss, the chief, and he's like, you really should let me go investigate this. You really should let me get out there and investigate because this is weird. His boss is like, no, you've got more important things to do instead of investigating old people dying at an old people home. So he's frustrated because he can't do what he needs to do. But he's about to be able to, mind you. He's about to be able to. So after this visit that Rose and Miller go do, we cut to Gopi, and Gopi is getting ready to, he's getting ready to both have a little date night with Mary, and then also he's getting his camera ready, because, he does the once a month movie night thing, and he gets a knock at the door, and he thinks it's Mary, because Mary's supposed to be coming over, and he opens it, and it's not Mary. It's not Mary, so, I'm gonna make it so big. So Gopi, and I liked Gopi. I thought Gopi was pretty sweet. He had a love for film and all of that. I liked him. He opens the door. It's not Mary. It's the killer. And his death was by far, I think, one of the worst ones, because he didn't get drugged. He wasn't in like some happy place when he died, because the killer starts, what is the term that they use in like Criminal Minds? Devolving, I think is what it is. The killer starts devolving. So with Gopi, the killer straight up stabs him in the stomach and then like saws upwards with him. I'm like, if you wanted that to look like an accident, there is no way anyone's gonna think he accidentally stabbed himself and then gutted himself. And it's really sad because he's still alive when Mary shows up and knocks on the door, and the killer covers his mouth and goes, unless you want her to join you, you better stay quiet. So he's still alive, listening to Mary knock on the door and call for him, and he doesn't say anything because he doesn't want her to die next. And I thought that was the saddest fucking thing, next to the residents trying to call their loved ones to not have to be there. And so the killer stays with Gopi until it's apparent he's not going to make it. He wasn't going to make it regardless. So the killer stays there. And Gopi takes his camera and puts it on his chest facing the killer as the killer's leaving, to be like, hopefully they can catch the killer with his camera. And he writes something on his arm also. And then that's the end of Gopi. Gutted. No, I cross-referenced. Oops. So that ends Gopi. Which I thought his death was really sad, because we do have his point of view as he's dying, as he's putting the camera on his chest facing the killer climbing out the window, as he's listening to Mary knock and then Mary walking away, and he's thinking about how much he really liked her and like the fun that they were gonna have together, just being together and stuff. And I was like, this book is tearing me apart emotionally. Like, damn. Shit. So that happens. And then we literally jump right to Mickey in the bed. They had to do a chest strap over him also, because he was like really going for it, getting out of there. And so the killer shows up to Mickey, who's been sedated because, you know, he's roid raging, but doesn't realize he's roid raging. And the killer tells him, yeah, I'm here for you now, and guess what? When I'm done with you, I'm going to kill all of your friends next. And Mickey can't do anything while the killer smothers him to death. And again, it was another sad chapter, because you're just like, at this point, you're just pissed off that the killer keeps getting away with it. At this point, you're like, he was in a fucking medical facility. There were nurses and a doctor out there. How did the killer get away with this? This is bullshit. Like, at this point, I was just pissed off. I'm like, why are you still being able to get away with this? Who raised you? Who raised these nurses? Who didn't notice this? I was so mad. I was so fucking mad. Moving on. After this, Rose goes to have a private conversation with the director, Blackwell, because she's like, this bullshit. I'm getting real pissed off. I'm real pissed off. She goes to talk to him, and she's like, look, I don't know why you're not taking this seriously, but you need to really sit down and think about how we have a killer on the loose. Okay? I don't know how many other people need to die for you to realize that there is a killer on the loose. And the director says something to the point of, we need to keep this contained. And that's when she realizes that he doesn't want this to get out, because if this gets out, people won't want to live here. And if people don't want to live here, Autumn Springs won't make money. And if Autumn Springs doesn't make money, he doesn't make money. And if he doesn't make money, he loses his job. And she's like, oh, I see how it is. You're worried about money when we're all over here dying. And he's like, no, I care about all of you. I really do. And she's like, So now she doesn't trust him because she thinks he's more caring about what corporate's going to think about all of this. And at this point, I'm like, he hasn't told corporate about any of the bodies? About any of this? You've had the police out here how many times? And you ain't told corporate yet? Like, that alone should get you fired, I personally think. But okay, whatever. And so while they're in the middle of talking about this, Blackwell gets a call on his phone. And Rose can tell by the look on his face that something is wrong. Something is wrong. And she's like, He goes, it seems, Gopi is not answering his door, and Mary, his new lady friend, is a little concerned. She's like, I'm coming with you. And he's like, I would tell you no, but I have this strange feeling that that's not going to work. And she's like, bet your fucking ass. Okay, of course she didn't say that. She's a refined lady. But basically she was like, damn straight. So she goes with him to the building that Gopi lives in, and Mary is outside of the door, and she's really fucking sad, and she's scared. She's like, he's not answering. I've called for him. I've knocked repeatedly. He's not answering. And like literally all the neighbors on that floor are peeking out their door too, because they're like, ah, shit. Did he get got? Did the killer strike again? Like they all already think, him dead. And so Rose and Mary are like holding each other for comfort, going, oh no, everything's okay. Everything's okay. Blackwell opens the door, steps inside, immediately steps outside and goes, do not go in there. And Mary just starts sobbing, like sobbing, as Blackwell pulls out his phone, calls the cops and goes, I need to report a murder. And then everyone's like, and I'm like, why are y'all shocked? Y'all already thought that's what it was, but I guess it was more like the confirmation that they were like, damn, he actually just admitted that there was a murder. Fuck. So after that, so many people dip. There's only like maybe 40 residents left after Gopi's body is discovered, and everyone's like, peace the fuck out. Mary is one of them. Proud of you, girl. She dipped. She was like, I can't stay here no more. Rose is like, I'm not leaving. And there's a couple other people that are like, I'm not leaving. Maureen, the lady with the gun, she was like, I'm not leaving. This is my home. I got a gun. What am I scared of? Miller stays because he has no family, nowhere to go. But so after that, Hastings shows up too, because Hastings finally, now his boss is like, okay, yeah, maybe you want to get down there. I remember reading that Hastings finally got to go investigate. I'm like, I know that boss was like, so yeah, maybe you should go investigate. Yeah, about that. I know Hastings was like, been fucking told you. It was, man, the stuff that I imagine happening in between the pages that I can't see, like, I bet Hastings was giving the I fucking told you so the whole time. But so Blackwell and Hastings, they have to hold a whole other conference for like the 40 people that are still there. And Hastings is like, all right, so we're gonna have cops here. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. There is a killer on the loose. And everyone's like, we already knew that, you assholes. And he's like, and I know y'all not gonna like this, but there is a curfew. I don't want to hear nothing about it. There is a curfew. Someone is trying to kill y'all. If you cannot leave, if you can't find somewhere else to be, curfew. Curfew is 6 p.m. I don't want to hear it. Curfew is 6 p.m. I don't want to hear it. Unless you can go take that vacation you've always wanted to go visit some family, some loved ones, some friends, I don't know what. Curfew is 6 p.m. And of course some people are like, well, who the fuck's gonna pay for our vacations? You know how much it costs to fucking stay here? And blah, blah, blah. And Maureen, this bitch, she goes, I just want you all to know that I have a fucking gun. So if y'all want to try it, fucking try it. And Hastings like, all right, one of the officers, make sure she has all the permits for that. He's like, yeah, make sure she got the permits for that shit, because what? And so while they're all talking over, everybody's talking over each other, Maureen, I guess, kind of freaks out when one of the officers reaches for her, because they want to be like, can I see your permit and all that shit. and the gun, because she has the gun on her. And so she freaks out when he reaches for her and she pulls out the gun. And so now the officer's got his gun pointed on her, and Hastings is like, everybody calm down. What the fuck? Calm down. No shooting. No shooting. No, everybody calm the fuck down. So everybody's sitting and they're like, damn. Okay. Nobody move, I guess. So Hastings gets to Maureen and he's like, okay, just give me the gun. Just put it in my hands. That's all you need to do. Put the gun in my hands and we'll be good. We'll be cool. And so she's literally about to do it. And this dumbass orderly who's been trying to like impress the cops ever since they showed up is like, this is my time to shine. And he tackles Maureen and he wraps one arm around her waist and then grabs the arm that's holding the gun. And Hastings is like, this is a bad idea. And as he's shouting, no, the orderly grabs her hand with the gun and the gun goes off. And basically Maureen, because of orderly, shoots one of the residents in the right through the eye and they die immediately. And now everyone's freaking out, panicking, running and evacuating and leaving. And Rose looks and Miller's grabbing her and is ducking down. He's like, bitch, get down. And she's like, oh yeah, okay. It was such a weird scene. Like, she looks over and Miller's on the ground and he's like, it was so weird. Like, she was in shock, I guess, at seeing someone that she knows just get shot through the head. But she was like, it was like she slow-moed was like, oh, down. It was interesting. So Maureen gets arrested and Rose and Hastings are having a conversation in her apartment. So now he's like, I want everything again. I know we talked, you and your friends, and we had that little, y'all made me eat breakfast and had coffee and you told me all the stuff you suspected. I want everything to the last detail now. Because now I am actually able to investigate this as a fucking string of murders. Tell me everything. And so she, as exhausted as she is from everything that's happened, as exhausted as she is from having to repeat herself, she tells him everything she knows, everything she and her friends have suspected, how weird it was, how Mickey was acting, how weird it was that Stan was acting. She suspects they've both been drugged. The works. She suspects maybe Angela was murdered. She thinks maybe Owen was murdered, even though it looked like the suicide. She lays everything out, and Hastings shows her a picture of Gopi's arm that says 8mm on it. And at first, she thinks it says BMM. Remember that for later. But then she's like, 8mm, that's like the size of the film that he uses for his old-ass fancy camera thing. And then he shows her a video. He shows her the video Gopi took of trying to focus on the killer and stuff. And Hastings was like, so now, he's like, now I think the killer is trying to get rid of all the people who are suspecting that there is a killer. So Rose is like, so you're saying that we could be next? At this point, they don't know that Mickey is dead. So she's saying, so you're saying me, Mickey, and Miller could be next? Because they were the ones that were at the little thing. Because first Stan went, then Gopi. So yeah, Mickey, Miller, and Rose. And so they're like, yeah. And then Hastings, it literally ends with Hastings going, or it could be you. And so Rose and Miller are having a lunch the next day. And she tries to talk to him about, she's like, so I was talking to Hastings, and Miller just kind of like goes off on her. He's like, Jesus, Rose, okay, this was fine when we thought it was a killer, but now we know there's a killer, and we know people are in danger. Why are you sticking your nose where it doesn't belong? And that just pisses her off. Like, I understand Miller at this point, because I'm like, why are you? You're like, as you put it, you're really old. You're fragile. As you've called yourself fragile, what can you possibly hope to achieve by trying to solve this with the cops? But so she gets really mad and they have this big argument and she storms off. She doesn't even tell him her plan that she came up with Hastings, where she's going to be the fucking bait. And baby, is she the fucking bait. She... So that same night, she's in bed and she hears someone come into her room. Hold on. Ugh. So she hears someone coming into her room and she's like, that's gotta be the killer, right? Who the fuck else is coming into my room at this time of night? That's gotta be the killer. So she's pretending to be asleep, okay? And the killer comes in and Rose has her eyes like kind of closed like this, like you can't really tell that they're open, but she's looking and she sees, she can't tell if it's a man or a woman, but she sees them pull out a needle and they kind of pull back her covers to her feet, and as they do this, Rose shouts, "No!" And then like, it was like the code word, like cops come bursting out the bathroom, cops come bursting in through the door, and like the killer's like, what the fuck? And so the killer pushes the cops from the bathroom back into the bathroom and like throws a can of fucking bear mace or something in there with them, completely blinds them. And then the killer looks at Rose and then jumps out the window. And Rose is on the second floor. So Hastings comes in and he looks down. They're like, damn, there's a fucking hedge down there. They jumped into the hedge and they're running off. And he's like radioing, telling them like which way the killer went and stuff. And so, but the killer gets away. So, it almost worked. That plan almost fucking worked. They almost got the killer. But the killer was prepared and had fucking mace on them. Like, damn, that was smart. So, the next chapter is the killer, in their mind, thinking about how clever Rose was. Or like, man, I really wanted to kill that bitch first. But damn. That was clever. That was clever of her. You know what? I'm going to give it to her. I think she's going to be my final girl. I liked that. But, you know, I got to get the bitch back. Like, it's not what they said, but in my head, that's how I would have phrased it. They're like, I got to get the bitch back, though, because, you know, fucked up my plans. So, revenge, bitch. And so they take poor sweet baby Tatum. Tatum is the one that has really, really, really bad, Alzheimer's, the one who always sits at the pond and watches the koi fish and is always looking for his dog Jack. But Jack's been dead for like 5 years now. And they go to Tatum and they're like, hey, we found Jack. And Tatum's like, you found Jack? And they lead Tatum away from the pond to like this little river that's on the property. And they drown him. And it's so sad because when Tatum is drowning, in his mind, he's in a field where he sees Jack again and they're playing and they're happy to see each other and stuff. And I'm like, this is really depressing, but at least he didn't die scared. But oh my God, why precious sweet angel baby Tatum? And so after that, when they find Tatum's body, Rose decides she can't stay here anymore because that was it for her. That was her breaking point. When Tatum died and she knew it was because of her, because the killer left Tatum's hat on her bed. So she knew Tatum died because of her, because she tried to help catch the killer. So she left. She went to go stay with her daughter, who wanted her to stay with her anyway. So she leaves. And while the day that she's waiting for her daughter to come get her, she's sitting with Miller waiting. And that's when Miller tells her, like, I don't have anyone. My daughter died years ago and there's no one else. And they start talking and Rose, this was really tactless of her, but she says, Gopi wrote something on his arm before he died. 8mm, you know, the tape that he uses. And at first I thought it said BMM. I thought it was your initials. Miller, you tell me you don't have anything to do with any of this, right? And I felt so bad for Miller because you could tell that he was so hurt by this, because he steps away from her. He won't let her come near him. He's like, no, and like walks away. And she's like, I fucked up. I'm like, yeah, you fucked up. Why would you ask? Really? That was... And it's her own insecurities from her past that make her not trust people. But, like, I couldn't get behind that one. I was like, bitch, really? That was so fucked up. She could tell that she hurt him. And so she has to leave on that note with him. Because then Sybil pulls up and she has to get in the car and leave, having just asked her friend, hey, did you kill all of our friends? I think you did. And so, damn. I was like, fucking ruthless. Damn. Okay. So, oh yeah, we gotta put Precious Tatum on here. So, Rose is staying with her daughter Sybil, her son, and her fiance, who comes to visit on the weekends. He's still living in town because of his job and stuff. And she's happy for the most part. She's like, you know what? I actually really love being here. I get to see my grandson. I think his name is Roy. I get to see him all the time. I get to see my daughter. I'm happy here. She's learning to like Carlo, the son-in-law. But she just doesn't like men. And we find out why in just a second. But she mostly is just loving that she gets to see her grandson so much and her daughter so much. But what happens is, one day, Rose gets a call from a nurse at Autumn Springs. I almost said Meadowbrook, the last book I read. So she gets a call from a nurse saying that Miller had an accident and that Rose is listed as his emergency contact, which she didn't know that she was listed. But like, well, he doesn't have anybody else. So that makes sense. And the nurse is like, yeah, he's stable, but he's asking for you. And Rose is like, like something starts to not feel right about all this. So she goes, okay, I'll be there as soon as I can. Oh, but by the way, he's diabetic. Can you make sure that he doesn't have any sugar? And the nurse is like, oh yeah. Oh, yep, I see it in his chart. We'll make sure to keep the sweets away from him. Pause. Throughout the book, Miller has had a fucking sweet tooth. Whether he's eating little candies from his pockets, pies, cakes, puddings, whatever. He has a sweet tooth. He says sweets help him think. Things like that. He has a sweet tooth. He does not have diabetes. So Rose is like, oh my god, the killer just called me. She's like, well, fuck. Okay, the killer just called me. Miller's in danger. I gotta go back. So she doesn't tell her daughter that that's why she says, sounds like Miller's sick. I need to go back. Can you have Carlo drop me off? So Carlo takes her. She calls Detective Hastings and leaves him a voicemail saying, hey, the killer just called me, pretending to be a nurse. Or the killer might be a nurse. Miller's in danger. I'm heading back. It's basically what she says in the voicemail. Because he doesn't answer, so she has to leave a voicemail. So while Carlo is driving her there, she tells Carlo the story of her ex-husband. Her ex-husband was extremely abusive. Even while she was pregnant with Sybil, and it got worse after Sybil was born, to the point where she ended up in self-defense killing him. And Carlo's like, whoa. And she's like, I'm just letting you know that I killed him, and I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel a shred of remorse, because it was me or him. It was Sybil or him, because he had been abusive to Sybil one time before, and it seemed like at that moment he was going to do it again. And so Rose was like, I'm just letting you know that if you hurt Sybil or if you hurt Roy, I will kill you. I'm just going to let you know, and I won't feel bad about it. And Carlo's like, I believe you, but also you don't got to worry about that. I love those two. I love those two. And so they kind of have this like moment of understanding with each other, and then he drops her off, and she immediately gets got. She immediately gets got in her apartment. The killer's in there. Like, she did not check the everything. She turned on the lights, and the killer comes up behind her and jabs her in the neck with propofol, I think is what the killer said it was, and knocked her the fuck out. And I was just like, damn. Damn. So she gets unconscious. When she wakes up, she's tied to something that feels like metal, and she's looking up at the sky. It's dark as fuck out, and she's like, the fuck? And she looks over, or the killer reveals themselves. The big reveal. It's the fucking nurse that we've only spoken to maybe 2 or 3 times this whole book. Fucking Mindy Jarvis. It's the nurse that walked with Rose and Tatum back to bring Tatum back to his room. The one that Rose was asking questions about Angela's death, the one who had closed the window and then lied about it being open. That nurse. Mindy Jarvis is the killer. And she's fucking crazy. So she's like, oh, hey, Rose. I finally got you. What up? Propofol really knocks you the fuck out. And Rose is like, what the fuck, Mindy? And she's like, yeah. So I think you're going to be my final girl. Things are kind of getting a little heated around here. All these cops and stuff, you know. Gonna have to skedaddle soon. By the way, I tied you to the railroad tracks. So they have a train that is close to the property. And she's tied Rose to the track. She goes, it's going to be so much fun to watch this train just smoosh you. So excited. And Rose is like, son of a bitch, because she knows the schedule of the train because her apartment is closest to the tracks. So she knows the schedule by heart and she can tell the train is coming soon. So she's scared out of her mind. Mindy's just super fucking excited and chatty as shit. And then Mindy all of a sudden stops and she hears sirens and she's like, fuck. I gotta go deal with something real quick. Your friend Miller, he's bleeding really slowly. I wanted to take my time with him, but I gotta go deal with that real quick. Peace. So she leaves, and Rose is like, okay, so Miller might still be alive, but that's good. I'm about to die, though. And so she's sitting there, and she's struggling, and this is where the book turned weird. As weird as I can say with the way this book has been going. Rose is tied to the railroad tracks. She's panicking as fuck. She was injected with a bunch of shit. So Mindy did tell her she injected her with a whole bunch of shit and she will be hallucinating and stuff. So that's what I'm thinking this part was, but it doesn't explain this next part that I'm going to talk about too. But so Rose, dead ass, sees the ghosts of the 3 Baxter sisters. And they are coaching her through trying to get untied from the tracks. So they are like saying, hey, there's some slack in the ones around your wrist. Loosey-goosey, baby, loosey-goosey. And Betsy, the one who gave her the charm, is like, if you let go of the charm that you've been holding this whole time, you can get your wrist out. It's gonna hurt, but you can get your wrist out. And so Rose was like, oh my god, duh, I've been holding onto this charm since she captured me. And so she lets it go and she's able to get her wrist out. She's able to untie herself literally just in time. So there's a moment her dead husband, Barry, I think his name is, she sees him and he's trying to stop her from untying herself. He goes, I'm not gonna let you live, bitch. And she's like, ah, and like slaps him or something and unties herself just in the nick of time for the train to come by. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? Now she's seeing her dead husband. It was so weird. And so she gets free, but then Mindy's back and Mindy's like, how the fuck did you do that? Oh, whatever. I guess I get to, like, stab you now. That'd probably be more fun than watching the train smoosh you, I guess. I'm like, this bitch is crazy. So Mindy's like, you know what? We're gonna make a game out of this. Because you're my final girl. And I'm so excited. So this is what we're gonna do. You see that path over there? You're gonna run that path. That path leads to the river where I killed Tatum. If you can make it to the river before I catch you, I'll let you live. And Rose is like, bull fucking shit. And, oh yeah. I'll just do that. So she's like, no, I'm serious. If you get there before I catch you, you can live. But if you try to go off the path or hide from me off the path or stray or anything like that, I'll kill you because that's cheating. And we don't cheat, do we, Rose? Like this bitch. What the fuck? So, she's like, I'm going to count down from 10. I'll even do the Mississippis and everything. I'm like, what the fuck? So she starts counting. And Rose dips. So Rose dips through the fucking woods. And at first she's like, I can't fucking see shit. I think I'm on the path. And she's running on the path. And her abusive dead ex-husband shows up on the path. And he's like, I'm not letting you win. You're going where I say you're going. And the Baxter sisters pop up from a tree and go, this way. Come this way. So Rose is like, fuck, and dips off the path through the trees with the sister. And she hears Mindy go, Rose, I said that's cheating. and now I have to kill you. So Rose is running, and so after a minute she finds this tree to hide behind. Plus she's like out of breath at this point. She's hurt. Some of her toes are broken. She's got some fractured ribs. Like, she's all busted the fuck up. So she hides behind the tree, and for a while it works, and then all of a sudden she hears Mindy go, "Open your eyes, Rose." So Rose was just hiding like this, and all of a sudden she just hears, "Open your eyes, Rose." And look, and Mindy's there. And Mindy's like, "Well, I gotta kill you now." And so this is where it got weird, because I was like, this was not hallucination, because of later Mindy goes to attack her, and then all of a sudden they both stop, and they're like, what the fuck? Because a fucking mountain lion shows up, and it's an all black mountain lion with red eyes, and Rose swears to God as it's jumping past her, it looks her dead in the eyes, and then it jumps on Mindy and tears Mindy to fucking shreds. And the Baxter sisters are like, "It's time to go, Rose." And I'm like, hold the hell up. They told her when her and Miller went to go talk to the sisters, they said that Horace appears to people as a mountain lion. I'm like, did they really raise a ghost? No, not a ghost. Did they actually summon the demon? What? That part was really weird, because then Rose gets away, obviously, because the mountain lion never attacks her. It just attacks Mindy, kills Mindy, and then vanishes. And so Rose is able to get back to the property, get back to Autumn Springs. A cop finds her, because they found a cop that Mindy had killed, because she was sneaking out the back, and the cop was there, and she was like, ah, and like stabbed the cop to death. And so a cop had found her, brought her to the hospital. And so Hastings is telling her all this later. They're like, yeah, apparently Mindy has been on quite the killing spree outside of Autumn Springs. There's been mysterious deaths at several places that she's worked, and da-da-da-da-da. And Rose is like, I know she's the killer, please, we've already talked about this. And Hastings is like, the weird thing, though, is that was definitely an animal attack that killed her. But we didn't find a mountain lion. But she was definitely torn to fucking pieces by a mountain lion or by an animal. And Rose is like, I'm not even gonna tell him that I think the Baxter sisters actually summoned their demon. I'm just too fucking tired. I'm not getting into that. Because she's like, I'm done. I'm fucking done. And so she's in the hospital. She's in there for a while because of her injury. She's got like 4 broken toes, a bunch of fractured ribs. Her wrist is broken. She's got bruises and cuts on her face. Like, she's battered. And Detective Hastings is like, yeah, she was really working Miller over. Like, she was taking her time with him. We got there as soon as we could, and she gives her a letter that Miller had on his coffee table, had her name on it. And it's the saddest fucking letter. It is Miller telling her that he forgives her for her basically accusing him of killing all their friends. That, yeah, it hurt when you asked me that. I understand your past and what happened to you, but I don't believe that we let the past define our future. And I'm just going to flat out say it, Rose, I love you. I know that you probably don't want to hear that, but guess what? I love you. And I don't know what's going to happen to us going forward. I don't know if I'm even going to be here. Hell, if you're reading this letter, I'm probably not here anymore. So I love you. I don't know if you feel the same way or if you want to feel the same way. I don't know what this means for us going forward, but I wanted to put it out there. And so Rose reads this letter, and she's just contemplating it for a while. And then the book ends with her going to see Miller, who is in intensive care. So he didn't die, yay! But he's in intensive care. And it goes to her, and her sitting with him, and her taking his hand and going, I'm here, and him squeezing it to acknowledge that she's there. And that is how the Autumn Springs Retirement Home Massacre ends. That was a fucking wild-ass ride. My God. Jesus. Jesus did not take the wheel for that one. Jesus. I really enjoyed this book. I did. the script of writing, the fucking characters. I loved every part of it. The one thing I wish we could have had was the cliche, the little cliche, the villain talks about why they're doing what they're doing. I wish we could have had a little bit of that. Just because I want to know what the fuck, what was Mindy thinking? Why is she going around offing old people? That's all. That was my big thing. I thought the weird little twist at the end where the Baxter sisters may have actually summoned a demon, I thought that was a funny little twist too. Because it's like, if they didn't, what killed Mindy? Because mountain lions aren't, like, apparently natural to that region. So it's just an interesting, like, Twilight Zone type of thing. But I did enjoy it. Was a lot of deaths. That was like Game of Thrones levels of death. Jesus. What was it? It was 10 bodies in 10 days is what Hastings had recorded. 10 bodies in 10 days, and it took them finding someone gutted for them to believe that there was a serial killer on the loose. Oh, this book was really good, but it pissed me off on so many different levels. The amount of times the killer could have been caught if they had just from the beginning realized it was a killer. Ooh. I highly recommend, even if you watch my videos where I basically spoil everything, I highly recommend you still read it. It was a great read. It was a great ride. Depressing in a lot of spots, but it's worth the read. I say give it a shot. That is my review for the Autumn Springs Retirement Home Massacre. I will be reviewing Sleep Tight by J.H. Markert next, and then I think I'm going to do this book. It's called It Devours. It's a little bit different than what I've been reading lately. It's from the Welcome to Night Vale series, so it's very weird fiction is what I'm going to call it, or bizarro fiction is what I would probably call it. So I'm going to be reading those two on and off, like alternating between half of one, half of the other for reviews. And then gonna put in another one and just keep putting in more books, more reviews. Eventually I'll put up, if you guys have suggestions for me, let me know. But other than that, you guys have a good rest of your days. Bye-bye.